Hello everyone, welcome to Options with Doug, streaming live daily on Bookmap Discord and the Bookmap YouTube channel at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Before I get started, I need to go through the disclosures. General disclosure, all Bookmap Ltd materials, information, and presentations are for educational purposes only and should not be considered specific investment advice nor recommendations. Risk disclosure, trading futures, equities, and options involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. Here's my contact information. The best way to get in touch with me is through Discord. My name on Discord is Doug P. Also in Bookmap Discord, there's an Options-Doug chat channel that's a great place to post questions, comments, and content related to the topics of my presentation and the topics of the channel that I'll go through in just a moment. And note that Bookmap Discord is free and available to everyone, whether you subscribe to Bookmap or not. There's a lot of great content there, a very strong community of traders, all trying to help each other become better traders. Again, it's free and available to everyone. I'm also on X, formerly known as Twitter. My name there is @Pless. The focus of my presentation today and the focus of the Options-Doug chat channel is options order flow, the impact of options markets on stocks and futures, and the influence of market maker hedging flow on price action. I have a two-step process for trading, and the first is planning, and I use positional analysis. I look at how traders and market makers are positioned in the options market and how those positions change from day to day to develop a thesis regarding the expected trading range and volatility for the day, as well as the directional bias. And the second step in my process is execution. I look at real-time order flow in Bookmap and real-time market maker hedging flow in Spotgamma Hero for setups. And when I talk about setups today, I will be talking about setups in an underlying asset. And setups in those assets can be taken any number of ways. For example, the S&P 500 setups can be taken with ES futures, SPY shares, SPY options, SPX options, or even ES options. So again, in execution, I'm confirming my thesis and looking for setups. Questions and comments are welcome, and I will be watching both the Options-Doug chat channel and Discord, as well as the chat and YouTube for your questions and comments. Please feel free to post, and I'll do my best to answer your questions. Here's my agenda for today, Thursday, January 18th. First of all, I want to go over news items, economic data, and events for today and tomorrow. Then I'll go through my positional analysis. Then I'll review some setups from earlier today, and then I'll get to the live market. And just a note, I'm looking for feedback. So today I'm going to try and go through the positional analysis a little bit more quickly so we can go to setups in the live market. If that's what everybody would like to see, please let me know. Again, any feedback is welcome. Whatever you would like to see, please let me know. You can post that in Discord and YouTube. Just keep in mind in YouTube that's somewhat transient. In Discord, I'll see it longer. And then also you can also contact me direct message in Discord with Doug P. All right, so let's start now. News items, economic data, and events. So today, this week has been pretty light for economic data, but today jobless claims came out, and they were lower than expected, also lower than the previous number. And then building permits, there were some other housing data as well. Building permits came in greater than expected and greater than previous reading. And then also tomorrow, Michigan consumer sentiment comes out at 10 a.m. All right, let's move on now to positional analysis. I'm going to start with the S&P 500. And this is ES futures in Bookmap. And before I take a closer look at this chart, I do want to take a look at the underlying index, which is SPX. We'll start with a larger time frame. So this is a one-day chart in Thinkorswim for SPX. This is the rally that began October 30th for a variety of reasons. IV collapse, put Vanna rally, better than expected inflation reports, somewhat dovish FOMC, and so the rally has moved up pretty sharply, pretty quickly at the end of last year, up into the 4,800 level and finding resistance at that level. All right, so that's a one-day chart. Now let's zoom out a little bit more, take a look at a 30-day 1-hour chart. So this is showing in SPX. Here's that 4,800 level acting as resistance. So this is the end of last year, and SPX could not quite make it up to that level, and then this year last week 4,800 acting as resistance again. So SPX has struggled at that level. All right, let's take a look at levels on this chart now. So first of all, I want to point out the dashed purple lines. That's the lower and upper weekly expected move. That's based on the options market. I update that once a week over the weekend, and those levels remain in place for the entire week. The dashed blue lines are showing the lower and upper daily expected move, also based on the options market, and those levels are updated once a day. I update them at the close for SPX. So SPX has been trading up to the upper daily expected move and is now trading back within that range. All right, the dark red lines are showing Spotgamma levels. There's been quite a shift in levels overnight for SPX. So let me point those out. Again, the dark red lines, Spotgamma levels, these are based on gamma-weighted open interest. They're proprietary to Spotgamma, provided to Spotgamma subscribers, shown on a variety of trading platforms. This is Thinkorswim. I'm going to point out the key daily levels. First of all, there's the put wall at 4,500. That's a strike with the largest net negative gamma that can be expected to act as support. And that level did move lower from yesterday, from 4,600. Actually, yesterday the put wall moved lower from 4,700 to 4,600 and then has moved lower again now to 4,500. So that's the put wall. The next level up is the volatility trigger. That's at 46.95. And that is Spotgamma's proprietary gamma and volatility flip level. Below that level, market makers' position on the gamma curve is negative. In a negative gamma environment, they have to trade with price to hedge their delta exposure, and that tends to enhance or increase volatility. On the other hand, above that level, market makers' position on the gamma curve is positive. In a positive gamma environment, market makers have to trade against price to hedge their delta exposure, and that tends to subdue or decrease volatility. And note, we'll take a look at gamma notional in just a moment. The gamma notional at the beginning of the day for SPX was pretty much neutral, just very slightly negative. And that level also shifted lower from yesterday to this. It shifted lower from 47.65, which was definitely in play for today. That was noted as a resistance level. We'll take a look at that in just a minute. And then the next level up is the call wall, up now at 4,900. That's a strike with the largest net positive gamma that can be expected to act as resistance. And that level moved higher from yesterday, from 4,800 up to 4,900. And then finally, the absolute gamma strike is now up at 5,000. And that is the strike with the largest absolute positive and negative gamma. And so that level also moved pretty significantly higher from 4,800 yesterday, now up to 5,000. So big shifts in levels for SPX. Volatility or trigger and put wall shifted lower. Call wall and absolute gamma strike shifting higher, showing a very wide range there. The potential floor for price at 4,500, put wall, and the potential ceiling now at 5,000 at the call wall. All right, finally, let's take a look at one other SPX chart just to get a look at the levels in play for today. Let me zoom in on this just a little bit. So the dark portion on the right here is showing the regular trading hours today. And the takeaway here, first of all, the resistance at the upper daily expected move. And then note this 4750. That's a large gamma 4 level acting as support earlier today. That was a great launching point for a long early in the morning. And then as price broke below that level, the 47.47 zero gamma level acted as support. So those are the levels, SPX levels in play for today. All right, let's take a look at Bookmap now. On Bookmap, I have my own cloud notes. So I can show SPX levels. And here's this 47.65 level that I mentioned before, acting as resistance. And that was noted, that level was noted as resistance in the Spotgamma AM Founders note. That was the volatility trigger yesterday. And then here's that 47.50 level, large gamma 4 level, acting as support just above all the liquidity shown in the heat map there. I'll talk more about that in a few minutes when I get to setups. So I have SPX levels on this chart. I also have SPY levels. And you can't see the label here, but this is SPY 475. That level also along with the 47.65 acting as resistance. And then there's this zero gamma level. And also finally the upper daily expected move for ES. All right, note there is a difference in price between ES and SPX. And that level, those differences change, that difference changes a little bit every day. I post the index relationships that I use every day in Discord. I try to get those out by 10 a.m. When they've settled down a bit. So today ES minus SPX is 30, and that's what I'm using. So I'm showing SPX 4750 at ES 4780. So ES minus SPX equals 30. All right, so those are the levels in play for today. Primarily the 4750 level and then the 4765 level up above that, as well as the SPY 475. All right, those are the levels in play for the ES futures. Now let's take a look at NASDAQ. And hello, demo trader. Welcome. Glad you're here, and thanks thanks for mentioning the like button. Yeah, and that would help. Subscribe and hit the like button. All right, so this is the NQ futures in Bookmap. And before I take a closer look at this chart, I do want to take a look, first of all, at a QQQ chart. So I can isolate the QQQ levels in play for today. Oh, and I forgot to mention for SPY, the shifts in levels, volatility trigger, put wall, and absolute gamma strike all shifted lower. So a hat trick for SPY with 3 levels shifting lower. All right, on to NASDAQ now. This is the QQQ. And a strong rally overnight, shown with this gray area on the left. On Thinkorswim, the QQQ does trade 24 hours a day, so the price action is shown. And a strong rally. NQ did gap up and traded higher before the cash open, or at the cash open, opened almost 0.9% higher. All right, levels in play for today. Here's this combo 2 level, combining QQQ and NDX, gamma weighted open interest into one level, converted to an equivalent QQQ price. And then the 413 level, that's not a Spotgamma level, just a round number level, acting as resistance later today. Now it looks like the 411 level may be acting as resistance. All right, I'm going to skip over NDX. They're really, we'll take a quick look. Yeah, the only level in play for NDX is this combo level right here. Combo all three, again, combining QQQ and NDX, gamma weighted open interest, and this chart converted to an equivalent NDX price. All right, let's get back to Bookmap, NQ futures. Again, I have my own cloud notes. So I can show QQQ levels, and that combo level, NDX combo level, is just above that. And note that NQ has been trading well above its upper daily expected move earlier today. And then this yellow line up here, you can't see the label, that is the 413 level acting as resistance, along with NQ 17,100. So one column of notes there showing QQQ, NDX, and also NQ levels. And again, we'll talk about setups in a few minutes. All right, shifts in levels for the NASDAQ. There was only one. The volatility trigger for QQQ shifted lower to 403. So QQQ is trading well above its volatility trigger. All right, let's move on. Take a look at gamma notional now, and we'll get through this positional analysis pretty quickly and look at setups in the live market. And Caesar asks, has this chop been just as frustrating for you as many of us? Yeah. So yesterday, especially in NASDAQ, there were some great trending moves, much easier to trade than today, with deeper pullbacks. Again, I'll talk about that in a few minutes. So yeah, it was difficult to trade. You had to stay patient, pick your spots, and not overtrade. Not overtrade and get chopped up. All right, so gamma notional. This is market maker's position on the gamma curve at the beginning of the day for the S&P 500, NASDAQ, and Russell 2000. Note that most of these numbers are for S&P 500 and Russell 2000 negative, and for NASDAQ positive. So negative gamma notional indicates that for an index, traders are long puts, market makers are short puts, and they have to sell futures to hedge their delta exposure in a negative gamma environment. In a positive gamma environment, for an index, Spotgamma assumes that traders are short calls, market makers are long calls, hence the positive gamma, and they have to trade against price to hedge their delta exposure. So negative gamma notional for for the S&P 500. And note this is very mild for SPX, really more neutral. And then more negative for SPY at 947 million. QQQ still strangely positive, gamma notional, and then negative for Russell 2000. All right, I'm going to skip the Vanda model, very similar to yesterday, just showing how market makers may react to changes in price and implied volatility, unless somebody wants to see that. Otherwise, I'll move on to setups. Move on to setups in live market. All right, let's take a look at some setups. So we know that finally again for S&P 500, a gamma notional slightly negative and positive for NASDAQ. All right, so the key today was watching price action, order flow, and hedging flow in order flow in Bookmap and hedging flow in Hero here at key levels. All right, so I'm going to start with setups now. I'm going to start with the S&P 500. This is the Hero chart from Spotgamma. This is available to Spotgamma subscribers. What this chart is showing is price for SPX and the Hero signal, hedging impact, real-time options. So everything that we've looked at so far, other than Bookmap, has been based on static data that's updated once overnight. Spotgamma takes the open interest data that's provided by OCC, applies their algorithms to this data to come up with the levels and the other information that we've looked at, the gamma notional, and I use that on my planning process. And now we're going to take a look at real-time data. So this chart is showing options trades and market maker hedging activity for the S&P 500. That's a combined signal of SPX, SPY, XSP, and ES futures. So again, the purple line is the Hero signal, hedging impact real-time options. All right, I'm going to zoom in on this chart. And I'm going to focus on, first of all, the morning setup, which was long. And I mentioned this in Discord. Caesar asked about this, and noted right around 11 that traders were taking positive delta positions. So in the morning session, I was definitely looking for long setups. So let's start with the Hero signal here again. So the Hero signal, a rising purple line, indicates traders are taking positive delta positions. When traders take positive delta positions, market makers take the opposite side of that. So when traders are buying calls, market makers sell the calls, and they have to buy futures to hedge their delta exposure. And I'm talking about calls in SPY, SPX, ES. Market makers will sell those calls, and they have to buy ES futures to hedge their delta exposure. That is the most efficient way for them to hedge any trade in the S&P 500. And just let me point out that the Hero signal started rising right around 9:40, then really took off about 9:55. And note the flow alert there, indicating significant options activity, good to get your attention. Also note where that came in at 47.50. That's SPX 47.50. That's the level that I noted before, acting as support. All right, so we know starting around 940, traders were taking positive delta positions. At 955, that really accelerated at the 4750 level. Flow alert indicated again significant options activity, something to get your attention. I'm going to take a look at one other thing. I'm going to separate out puts and calls, and this is likely to cause a problem with the charts. I'm going to do it pretty quickly. And the rising orange line shows that traders were buying calls pretty much from the open, and then that really started to accelerate about 9:45, and then they continue to buy calls. So the rising orange line indicates traders are buying calls. Market makers are selling calls, and again have to buy futures to hedge their delta exposure. Let's take a look. So at the time that I have shown on this chart, the notional value for calls, the rising orange line, 3 billion, and they were also buying puts. That's shown by the falling blue line and the negative notional value, but the call buyers were more aggressive and pretty much driving price up until the reversal around noon. Let's go back to the total signal. So this was a great divergence. Long setup, hero rising, flow alert, and then really several opportunities to get in. The last one just before 10:05, the final test of 4750. All right, let's go to Bookmap now. Go back to ES. And I'm going to zoom in. By the way, now I'm using Bookmap version 7.5, and I just updated yesterday. It was 7.5 was an alpha version and has been upgraded to beta. So I went ahead and updated. And the main thing that I've noticed so far is the volume dots are a little bit different. So I'm still getting used to that. The clustering, there are some additional options. I'm going to have to go back and read about that. Maybe and watch Bruce's webinars. Maybe he's talked about it. He's been using 7.5 when it was an alpha version. So now 7.5 is beta. That's what I'm using. So far, no problems. Very stable. All right, so this is the setup, the long setup, and we'll take a look at the clues in Bookmap. And really, in this case, the hero signal was the kind of the most important signal for the move higher. So there were, again, several opportunities to enter along. And note all the liquidity in the order book here. Let me point this out, just resting below that 4750 level. So this is the heat map in Bookmap. This dark shaded area just below 4750. This is a history of the limit orders in the order book. The darker areas, bright orange, red, indicate there were more orders in the order book at that time. Also providing another confirmation for a long. And it looks like traders were front running that liquidity. All right, the volume dots, that's what I was talking about before, the clustering of the volume dots. Magenta dots, the volume dots indicate market buy minus sell. It's a delta. So magenta dots indicate more sellers than buyers, and green volume dots indicate more buyers than sellers. So another signal, deep pullback, and an entry, long entry at that large volume dot. Same here. This was a very nice setup. So the first setup, again, was this 47.50. Took some patience to wait for it, but several opportunities to get long at 47.50. Deep pullbacks to VWAP here, shown by this light blue line. Another pullback to point of control, the VPOC, shown by the purple line. And then the last entry. Note all the iceberg orders there. Those are sell iceberg orders, and aggressive buyers were buying those orders. Shown again by the very large green volume dot. And note also the stop orders, shown by the rising yellow line, and also rising cumulative volume delta, CVD, shown by the dark blue line. So aggressive buyers consume those sell iceberg orders, and then buy stop orders and aggressive buyers fuel the move higher to this cluster of levels there, a very important cluster of levels. That was the SPX 4765 level that was noted as resistance in the Spotgamma AM Founders Note. Just above that is the upper daily expected move for ES, and then just above that is the SPY 475 level. All acting as a target for these long entries, and then also resistance for a short later on. All right, so great long setup in the morning. Confirmations, especially with Hero, and then also here in Bookmap, support at the 4750 level, and then aggressive buyers moving price higher, shown by the rising CVD. Right, so again, the key today was to watch order flow and hedging flow at key levels. And the key levels for today, 4750 on the downside in this morning session, and this cluster of levels up above, acting as resistance and a target for the long in the morning. And then after that, that second test of the upper cluster of levels, ES did reverse lower. And note that large traders have been fading the move higher pretty much since the cash open. The light blue line is showing sell iceberg orders, and it's pretty much been falling since the cash open. And eventually they got their way. So again, those are sell iceberg orders used by larger traders to hide their size, and they can typically sustain a little bit more pain than smaller traders. All right, let's go back to take a look at Hero again. All right, so I'm going to zoom out. So at this 4765 level, it's right around here, and this is right around 1140, something like that. Hero shifts pretty sharply lower, starts to make a series of lower highs, and ES, SPX, SPY all reverse lower. So earlier today, Hero really acted as a great signal for a long, and then great signal for a short at a resistance level. So long at a support level, and then short at a resistance level. All right, let's go back to Bookmap. All right, so here's the short. Again, at that cluster of levels, ES makes a lower high. Some sell iceberg orders. And then aggressive sellers start to come in, shown by the magenta volume dots, and price drops pretty quickly back down to the 47.50 level, and then down to the 47.47 gamma level, and also the SPY 473 level, and now moving higher as aggressive buyers have started to come in again, shown by the green volume dots, also the rising CVD. And let's go back to Hero. See what options traders are doing. So note, just after 1 p.m., traders started taking positive delta positions again. So Hero pretty much flattened out during lunch. Then aggressive buyers came in. So really mean reverting price action today. Let's slice and dice this a little bit. First of all, take a look at puts and calls. So right around 1, traders started buying calls again. And they really started selling puts. Sorry about that. That's what I was trying to avoid. So right around 1, actually right around 12, they started selling puts. So earlier today, they were pretty steadily buying puts. That activity leveled off. Then maybe right around 12:40, they started selling puts. So then starting right around 1, they started buying calls. So note, now starting around 1, both the orange line and blue line are moving in the same direction. So traders are buying calls and selling puts. That is a very powerful directional indicator when both lines are moving in the same direction. Spotgamma has pointed that out as again, a very powerful directional indicator. Difficult for whatever the underlying is to move against that. I'm going to go back to the total signal. So there we go. Pretty clear. Traders started taking positive delta positions right around 1. And ES reversed higher. Not at any particular level. But again, aggressive buyers started to come in as options traders were taking positive delta positions. So ES breaks out of that range with aggressive buyers and market maker hedging activity. And maybe heading back up to this 47.65 cluster of levels. All right, let's take a look at NASDAQ now. And if anybody has any comments, was that sufficient detail on ES? Was that too much, too little? Any thoughts? would be helpful. All right, so here's NASDAQ. And let's take a look and see what options traders have been doing today. All right, so first of all, S&P 500 again, providing a very clear signal for hero. So here's NASDAQ, not so much. So the key for today was watch this MAG 7 signal. And I often look at this for NASDAQ. So what this is the combined signal for the stocks known as the Magnificent Seven: Apple, Amazon, Google, Meta, Microsoft, Nvidia, Tesla, and these stocks make up a very large component of the NASDAQ 100. Also the S&P 500, but much more so with the NASDAQ 100. So again, I often look at this signal as a confirmation for trades in NASDAQ. So note, from the open, traders were taking positive delta positions in the Mag 7 stocks. All right, Caesar says the high of the day info was really insightful. Thanks. Glad that helped. And Uncle says great level of detail, hero explanation, good. So I'm glad this is helpful. Again, I want to show whatever you want, whatever you find helpful. All right, so Mag 7 stock, hero signal, traders taking positive delta positions in the Mag 7 stocks, and NASDAQ responds higher. And I posted this chart in Discord as well as the S&P 500 chart. All right, let's go to NASDAQ now in Bookmap. Going to zoom in. All right, note again that I'm using the 7.5 beta version now, and the clustering is different. I'm still using the the clustering that I used before for the volume dots, and that's the smart clustering for NASDAQ. All right, so we know that traders, options traders, were taking positive delta positions in the Mag 7 stocks from the open. Took some patience to wait until this reversal higher right around 10 a.m. and that was the upper daily expected move, just above the 410 level on that combo level. And then there were very deep pullbacks to this trend line, very very close to this trend line. So once once the trend line was in place, it was pretty easy to find entry points for longs. And the volume dot showing aggressive sellers on the way down with the magenta dots. Then aggressive buyers come in. So in this case, the volume dots were a little bit easier to read for me today in NQ than they were for ES. Pullbacks. Then as NASDAQ starts to move higher, large traders come in with iceberg orders. That's shown by the light blue line there. Large iceberg orders. Then also buy stop orders. That's shown by the rising yellow line. Help to fuel the move higher. Also shown by the on-chart indicator. Those are buy stop orders. Another deep pullback to the trend line. And note at this point, blue line rising, yellow line rising, and then CVD starts to rise. That's shown by the dark blue line. Zoom out. All right, so in this case, the upper level, the high of the day, was not as easy to anticipate. There were no spot gamma levels up at that at the high of the day, just the NQ 17,100, and as I mentioned before, the QQQ 413 level just above that. All right, let's go back to Hero now. And you can see the Hero signal from Mag 7 starts to reverse higher, makes a lower high, and then reverses lower right around noon. All right, let's take a look at some stocks. First of all, I want to take a look at Apple. And Anatoly asks, is there a way to copy your Bookmap setup template? I can show you setups for individual items if you'd like. I'm not going to share my workspace, but for individual settings, let me know. It may be easier if you're in Discord. I can do that there. Otherwise, let me know if there are one or two things you want to see. All right, so let's go to Apple. So this morning, Apple, there was an upgrade for, I think, Bank of America upgraded Apple. Traders started taking positive delta positions. Note all the flow alerts here. Indicating significant options activity. And traders were buying calls and eventually selling puts. So calls really driving price higher today, shown by the rising orange line. And then note also this very typical pattern right around 11:30. Options traders take their foot off the gas and price consolidates and or reverses lower. So aggressive call buyers in the morning drive price up, and then price Apple stops as these option buyers, call buyers, take their foot off the gas. Well, let's go to Bookmap now. Go to Apple. So here's the long setup in Apple this morning. Reversal higher at 186. This is the opening print, that huge volume dot, and then there have been a lot of aggressive buyers. Note all the green volume dots heading up toward 189. So upgrade in Apple today, call buyers. Next, AMD. And Caesar, here you go, AMD, that was on my list. Oops, took a minute to catch up. So looking at order flow here in Bookmap, there were a lot of aggressive buyers at the open. Let me see if I can dial down these volume dots just a little bit. Up to 168, then aggressive sellers start to come in, shown by the magenta volume dots. Whoops. Keep grabbing the wrong tool. Magenta volume dots, aggressive sellers start to come in. So aggressive buyers right at the open on the way up, then aggressive sellers start to come in. Let's see what options traders were doing. Go to Hero. Go to AMD. And they were selling calls and buying puts. So notional value for both of these, the orange and the blue, both negative. So they are selling calls and buying puts. Calls really driving price action. Note the flow alerts. AMD reverses lower as traders stop buying calls, start selling calls, and start buying puts. All right, the next I want to take a look at is Meta. And Meta, pretty similar to Apple, aggressive call buyers in the morning. Note the floor alert right at the cash open, rising orange line, traders buying calls. Right around 11:30, they take the foot off the gas, and Meta starts to reverse lower. All right, the next thing I want to take a look at is I want to go to Equity Hub here. And I talked about this a little bit yesterday. The expiration on Friday, January expiration, is very heavily dominated for equities with calls. Very heavily call dominated expiration on Friday for equities in particular. So what I'm going to do, this is Equity Hub showing the composite view chart. This is for Meta, and what I want to do first is rank my watch list. This is mostly large cap tech, Mag 7 stocks. I'm going to rank it by next expiry gamma percent. And note, for some reason this list will not stay very long, but what I'm looking at here is anything over about 30% next expiry gamma percent. So this is showing for Netflix in particular 62.5% gamma expiring on Friday. So a large amount of gamma for Netflix is expiring on Friday. Let's focus on Meta and note also the expiration, top gamma expiration. This is all Friday, the January monthly expiration. For Meta, this is right around 45% gamma expiring on Friday. Note this composite view chart is showing this area of call domination. And that is an area, the green shading again, dominated by calls. And then the red shading is an area level dominated by puts. Let's see that pivot line is right around 350. Currently trading, Meta currently trading right around 375. So that's right around here where I'm holding my cursor. So well into this call dominated area. We know that quite a bit of that is going to expire on Friday. So when traders buy calls on a stock, market makers sell the calls, and they have to buy stock to hedge their delta exposure. And then as expiration approaches, those calls start to lose value due to charm. Charm is the change in delta with a change as time passes. So those calls will start to lose value, especially the out-of-money calls, and market makers that have bought stock to hedge their delta exposure, they can start to sell that stock as their delta exposure is decreasing. They can sell some of their long stock that they've been using to hedge their delta exposure. So what Spotgamma is looking for is some potential weakness, especially in equities, and of course the equities make up the index after expiration Friday. So we'll keep an eye on that, but that is something that may come into play. So the thing to do tomorrow, if this is something that you want to trade, something that you want to look at, I would say watch first of all the hero signal. So let's go back to hero for Meta. So if traders are not actively buying calls, market makers don't have to buy stock to hedge their delta exposure, and that could lead to a drop in price. as the calls they're already short are losing value, starting to lose value due to charm. All right, I've got about 5 minutes left. Does anyone have any stocks they want me to take a look at? Otherwise, I'm going to circle back to the, first of all, the S&P 500 now making highs of the day. Let's go take a look at Bookmap. This is interesting. Very mean reverting price action today. Go back to Bookmap. ES. All right, so here's ES. Playman, sorry, I don't know how to pronounce your name. ES, here you go. Reversal higher. And then a sharp after lunch rally as traders started taking positive delta positions. And aggressive buyers started to come in. And now price again above the 47.65 resistance level. And then as price started to move higher, buy stop orders helped to fuel the move higher. So this was a, let's just zoom in here. And note the stop run up above this level. So here's the level of previous resistance. And there were some large traders in selling with iceberg orders. Also note the liquidity at that level. Resting liquidity, resting limit orders in the order book. And then there was a stop run up above that level. That's shown here by the sharp rise in the yellow line. And this is something that that you can anticipate and trade. Stop run up above into that liquidity resistance levels, and the stop shown also by the on-chart indicator. So the sub-chart indicator, the yellow line, and the on-chart indicator showing that stop run up above liquidity and resistance levels up into ES 4800 and above. All right, CWR wants to see Amazon. So very choppy day here in Amazon. And let's see what options traders have been doing in Amazon. All right, so really not much of a trade in Amazon. All right, let's take a look at Mag 7 now. So they started taking positive delta positions in Mag 7. All right, so Playman asked about taking a scalp here. So, if I were watching this, I would be looking for pullbacks, anticipating the stop run up above this resistance level and positioning for that. But I'm not going to take a scalp now. I don't trade during my session. Note there are some large traders coming in with iceberg orders, buying with iceberg orders, and some aggressive sellers coming in now with volume dots. The magenta volume dot showing the aggressive sellers. But so far, ES continues to move higher. Now it looks like more stop orders fueling the move higher. Let's take a look at NASDAQ. Then we'll wrap it up. All right, so since about 1:30, when I started, 150 point move higher in NQ. A little bit more of a V-shaped reversal here in NQ, right at 950. Then same thing with the stop run. Not quite as distinct as the ES. Buy stop orders. Fueling that move higher up into 17,100 and 413, the previous resistance of the day. All right, interesting day. Mean reverting price action, mean reverting options trades, providing great clues today, as well as the order flow and Bookmap. Again, the key for today was to get your levels right. So in the case of NASDAQ, really the round numbers in NQ and QQQ acting as support and resistance. Options traders and aggressive buyers and sellers taking action at those levels. And then for ES, 4750 level on the downside. Then there was a break of that level. Then aggressive buyers started to come in and traders started taking positive delta positions. And now ES is trading up above that prior resistance, fueled by aggressive buyers and also buy stop orders, and of course option traders. All right, my time is up. I want to thank everyone for watching. Thank you very much for your questions and comments, and I will see you tomorrow.